Have you ever wondered about one of the largest encirclement battles in military history? Picture this, the year is 1941. World War II is in full swing, and all eyes are on the Eastern Front. In the heartland of the Soviet Union, the city of Kiev stands tall. It's not just any city, but a strategic gem coveted by both the German and Soviet forces. As the capital of Ukraine, Kiev is a key to controlling the region. It's like a grand chessboard, and Kiev is the queen piece, vital, powerful, and fiercely contested. Now let's rewind a bit. It's the early stages of Operation Barbarossa, the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union. This isn't just a simple skirmish or an isolated battle. No, this is the starting point of a major offensive, a campaign that would shape the course of the war and, indeed, the face of the world. Under the command of Field Marshal Fedor von Bock, the German forces are gearing up for the fight. They're not just looking to win, but to encircle and capture Kiev. It's a daring strategy, one that could yield massive dividends if successful. On the other side, the Soviet defenders, led by Marshal Semyon Timoshenko and Semyon Budyonny, are preparing to hold their ground. They know the importance of Kiev. They know what's at stake, but they're up against the German blitzkrieg tactics and superior firepower. It's not going to be an easy fight. The tension is palpable. The anticipation is high. Both sides are readying their forces, planning their moves, waiting for that crucial moment to strike. The Battle of Kiev is on the horizon, and it's going to be a game changer. With all pieces set, the stage was ready for one of the most significant battles of World War II. The German forces, under the command of Field Marshal Fedor von Bock, initiated the battle with a relentless assault. The strategy was clear and merciless. Encircle Kiev, cut off all escape routes, and crush the Soviet forces within. The Germans employed their infamous blitzkrieg tactics, a lethal combination of speed, coordination, and raw firepower. Imagine a whirlwind of tanks, artillery, and infantry, moving in unison like a well-oiled machine, each component complementing the other. The Germans were not just soldiers, they were a symphony of destruction. Their firepower was unmatched, their artillery raining death from the skies, their tanks an unstoppable wave of steel and fury. On the other side, the Soviet defenders, led by Marshal Semyon Timoshenko and Semyon Budyonny, braced themselves for the storm. They knew the odds were against them, but they had a city to protect, a homeland to defend. Their resistance was fierce. They fought in the streets, in the buildings everywhere. They held the line with everything they had, tanks, guns, and most importantly, their courage. Each Soviet soldier was a bulwark against the German onslaught. Each bullet they fired a statement of defiance, but the German war machine was relentless. They pushed forward inch by inch, street by street, until the Soviet lines began to crumble. The defenders were outnumbered, outgunned, and slowly being surrounded. The German encirclement was closing in, like a steel noose tightening around the city. Despite a brave defense, the Soviet forces were overwhelmed, leading to a catastrophic encirclement. The Battle of Kiev had turned into a siege, and the noose was about to snap shut. But this was just the beginning. The real horror was still to come. The battle had begun, and Kiev was in the eye of the storm. The encirclement of Kiev was a masterstroke of German strategy, leading to devastating losses for the Soviet Union. This operation was a textbook example of blitzkrieg, or lightning war, a military tactic designed to create disarray among enemy forces through surprise, speed, and superior firepower. Now let's paint a picture of the sheer size of the Soviet forces that were trapped within this encirclement. Imagine a city teeming with hundreds of thousands of soldiers all scrambling to find a way out of the tightening noose of German forces. It was an overwhelming sight. A sea of humanity caught in the iron grip of a well-executed military strategy. The Soviet forces, under the command of Marshals Semyon Timoshenko and Semyon Budyonny, were not idle. They attempted to break out of the encirclement, launching desperate counterattacks against the German lines. However, these efforts proved to be in vain. The German forces, under the command of Field Marshal Fedor von Bock, held their ground, repelling each Soviet counterattack with ruthless efficiency. The situation for the encircled Soviet forces grew increasingly dire. Supplies were dwindling, morale was plummeting, and the pressure from the tightening German encirclement was relentless. It was a grueling, bloody struggle, a testament to the brutal realities of warfare. Eventually, the Soviet forces had no choice but to surrender. The encirclement was complete, and the German forces had achieved a decisive victory. The scale of the Soviet loss was staggering. An estimated 665,000 troops were captured or destroyed, a figure that still sends shivers down the spine. The fall of Kiev was a crushing blow to the Soviet Union, with an estimated 665,000 troops captured or destroyed. This marked a turning point in the Eastern Front, a devastating loss from which the Soviet Union would take a long time to recover. The Battle of Kiev stands as a testament to the ruthlessness of war and the strategic prowess of the German forces during the early stages of World War II. The Battle of Kiev was not just a military victory for the Germans, but it also had significant implications for the course of the war. This pivotal engagement, taking place in the early stages of Operation Barbarossa, marked a devastating loss for the Soviet Union and a significant triumph for the German forces. The aftermath of the Battle of Kiev saw the Soviet military capabilities severely weakened. The encirclement and eventual capture of Kiev resulted in the loss or capture of an estimated 665,000 Soviet troops. This was no small number, and its impact was felt deeply within the Soviet military command. The loss of such a large portion of their forces left a void in the Soviet defense lines, paving the way for further German advances into Soviet territory. Beyond the immediate military implications, the Battle of Kiev also held significance in the overall context of World War II. It was a stark demonstration of the effectiveness of the German blitzkrieg tactics and encirclement strategy. This victory emboldened the German forces, giving them a psychological edge over their enemies and strengthening their resolve to push deeper into Soviet territory. But it wasn't just the Germans who learned from Kiev. The battle served as a harsh lesson for the Soviets, forcing them to reevaluate their strategies and tactics. It was a wake-up call, highlighting the need for better coordination, communication, and strategic planning. Despite the devastating loss, the Soviets regrouped, learned from their mistakes, and emerged stronger in the subsequent battles, ultimately playing a crucial role in turning the tide of the war. However, the human cost of the Battle of Kiev cannot be understated. The loss of life, the destruction, and the suffering endured by the soldiers and civilians alike are a stark reminder of the brutal realities of war. The Battle of Kiev stands as a stark reminder of the brutal realities of war and the strategic importance of encirclement tactics in military history. In this video, we've journeyed through one of the largest encirclement battles in military history. We've traced the footsteps of German and Soviet forces as they clashed in the historic city of Kiev, an engagement that marked a pivotal moment in the early stages of Operation Barbarossa, the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union. The city of Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, was more than just a city. It was a strategic objective of paramount importance. Its capture was a vital stepping stone in the German forces' campaign, a move that would open the pathway deeper into Soviet territory. The German forces, under the seasoned leadership of Field Marshal Fedor von Bock, executed a strategy of encirclement, effectively trapping the city and its defenders within an iron ring. On the other side, the Soviet defenders, commanded by the Marshals Semyon Timoshenko and Semyon Budyonny, found themselves overwhelmed. Despite their valiant efforts, they were no match for the German blitzkrieg tactics and superior firepower. The result was devastating for the Soviet Union. An estimated 665,000 troops captured or destroyed, a blow that severely weakened their military capabilities in the region. But the Battle of Kiev was more than just a military engagement. It was a turning point, a moment that shaped the course of the Eastern Front and, by extension, World War II. It stands as a testament to the sheer scale and complexity of the conflict, a war that spanned continents and forever marked the pages of history. As we reflect on the Battle of Kiev, we are reminded of the sheer scale and complexity of World War II, a conflict that forever changed the course of human history.